Hey, I'm Jim with Gravity Golf. Welcome back to Whirlwoods. I'm not going to talk to you a whole lot on this one. Just going to hit some shots for you. This one is going to be titled Thinking Outside the Box. Okay? Don't be afraid to get out and think outside of the box. Everybody I know would hit a wedge right here. I'm not going to hit a wedge right here. Could I hit a wedge from here? Sure. But we're going to spend this whole video thinking outside the box. All right? Driver from 20 off and 50 to the pin. All right? That got to, it covered the distance. It got to the hole. Although it was a little bit left, I thought it would come off that hill a little bit more than it did. It still carried the distance and had a chance. Let's go find some other stuff now, okay? All right, I'm gonna think outside the box here. Here I am in a greenside bunker. Everybody walks out here with their sand wedge, right? Some people like a little more loft, some people like a little less loft. I've got an 8-iron. I'm gonna try to turn this 8-iron into a lofty wedge. I'm gonna do that by taking more setup alignment to the left, and I'm gonna lay the club face open, and then I'm just gonna drop my arms and rotate through and see what happens, okay? That was pretty good. Here's a perfect time to think outside the box. Your relief in this situation is the nearest point of relief, and that's going to be about right here. I get a club length in any direction. At most, it's going to put me somewhere right in here. This overhanging limb then becomes an issue with my backswing, even maybe getting addressed to the ball, where I've got a clean swing at this ball from right where it's at. So let's opt to play it. Now, if you are an upper body player that pulls down hard with your arms and takes a hack out of the ground, you probably don't want to do this. You're going to break a club or injure a wrist or an elbow. But if you are very soft with your upper body, you can pick that clean right off of that cart path, and you'll have that shot in your bag. Let's give it a try. Probably about, I don't know, 60, 65 yards here. I've got a 9-iron. Okay, safely on the green. Out to the left, I took that tree out of play. It stood no chance of hitting it. I've got about a 20-foot birdie putt up there, okay? Don't be afraid to think out of the box on this, but you better have a good swing that you can pick the ball off of the cart path without coming into it steep, because if you come into it steep, you're gonna break a club or damage your wrist or your elbows, okay? All right, let's think outside the box here, and this is probably one of the hardest ones for people to do. This is the number 3 practice hole at Whirlwoods. It's a short par 3. It's from back here, it's 130 yards, and that's a perfect 9-iron for me. If you ever saw my video where I hit 3 different shots, I cut an 8-iron in, I hit a 9-iron straight, and I hit a wedge in with a hard draw. That was filling the gaps, but that was a little bit different deal. On this one, it's very windy. I think you can probably tell that from the sound in the video. I want to keep this ball flight down, and the 9-iron gets pretty high up in the air. That gives it more time for the wind to affect it. So I'm gonna hit a 7-iron here. Now, how do I hit a 7-iron the 130 yards? Because it's my 150. When you're a gravity player, the first move that you make is called the heave. The duration of the heave is what controls the distance of every club. If the duration is shorter, and that's where you release the tension. This is something we can get into a whole lot more if you come see me. Where you release the tension, the energy you've put on it at the first move then will carry it up to a certain height in the backswing, and you come from there. You know, it will control the distance. It's not a full swing. It won't go as far as that club with a full swing. So let's see if I can hit a 7-iron in with this thing. And to do that, my duration of my heave is going to be a little bit shorter than it would normally be. Okay. Pin high left. I don't know if you could see it. This was a 7-iron. The duration of the heave to the first point of release, that will control how far the club goes. If I would have put a full duration on my heave that time, this club would have flew the green by 20 yards. You notice that because it was a 7-iron, the ball flight was lower. The wind didn't have as much time to affect it. It's an option. It's thinking outside the box. All right, hopefully you can hear me over the grounds crew cleaning up some trees over here, but this may be the most important think outside the box video in this series, and that is how you practice. Okay, too many people spend all their practice time in their normal mode. Now, I want to make it clear that if you'll get better if you spend a lot of your time or all of your time in your normal mode, but you will get better at the compensations that you've made in your swing to cover up some impropriety. If you'll spend 95% of your practice time in the gravity golf drill modes, your technique will get better. Okay? I want to repeat that. Your technique will get better. We all know that in all sports, the better the technique, the better the potential. We all know that, right? That's not a gravity golf thing. That's a sports thing. There have been hundreds of different ways to move a golf ball that people have got good at. And that's the problem. You see somebody that got really good at a way that wasn't the greatest swing in the world, and that's what confuses everybody. Arnold Palmer, he was one of the greats, but he was a very violent upper body muscle guy that as he aged, his game went down. You take Jack Fleck, on the other hand. Jack converted to a true gravity player later in his days. He won a super senior event at 70 something. A month before he died, I saw him hitting golf balls at Hardscrabble, and although they weren't going very far, it was a thing of beauty. They were all out there right beside each other, and he was a gravity player. Okay, so spend 95% of your time in drill modes, and your technique will get better. Okay. So guys, in closing, let me say, you know, don't be afraid to think outside the box out here. You know, there's so much information out there, and you go on the internet and you click on this person's idea of what golf is all about. I mean, there's too much information out there. People don't know what to believe. You can believe this. The Gravity Golf teaching system was considered for a Nobel Prize in physiology. And David never would have figured this out had he not been willing to think outside the box a little bit and look at it from a different standpoint, okay? I want you to do the same thing out on the golf course. I want you to think outside the box. Don't get it in your mind that you're a certain distance, it's that club. Get to where you can hit multiple clubs from that distance, because there may come a time that you need to. There may not. But I promise you, if you're able to, the club you're supposed to hit from there, you're going to get better with it, okay? So think outside the box. Don't get caught in a rut of just this. I always hit my driver on par 4s and 5s. I always hit a wedge from 100. Don't get caught in that box, okay? Special thanks to Rick and his super bunch out here at Whirl Woods. This is such an awesome place. Big changes coming. We're anxious to see what the future holds here, but give me some comments on this. If you want to, drop me an email, jim@gravitygolf.com. You can go over to gravitygolf.com and check out the schedule coming up. We've also got a new link on it to me, just solely to me, my bio, my teaching locations. It's still in the making, but you'll see a lot of good stuff on there. So, you know, above all else, get out here, think outside the box, keep swinging, stay safe. Okay, see you soon. You want to learn about how to hit longer clubs shorter, but you've got to be able. You've got to be able.